Tippy time my damies, Tough Cat here and welcome back to the channel. With only a few weeks left in Season 20, I wanted to take a look forwards to Season 21 with all the arc buffs we get through the artifact and surges. I expect some JOLT mod to be represented in there, so I wanted to understand just how much damage JOLT does. Solar buffs our weapon damage with Radiant, Void debuffs with Weaken. And although these are popular for boss specs, Arc just gives us a straight out damage attack. In the second segment of this video we'll break down our abilities that apply JOLT and what their JOLT scaler is. Our third, fourth and fifth segments will rate and review our primary, special and heavy weapons. So if you're looking for any weapon in particular, just skip forwards in the timeline. If you enjoy the content, a thumbs up is always appreciated. With that said, let's begin with the super, the Gathering Storm. This one-shot wonder is thrown in 1 second, but it wants to snuggle so it hangs around for 10 whole seconds. Its base JOLT effect is also a standard 10 seconds and can damage once every 10 seconds for 7,405, adding an additional 74,000 to your super. Now this is currently the only arc super in the game that applies JOLT. It's great in an encounter like the Phalanx here, as even though our main attack is directed at him, jolts of lightning can strike out and pick off their foes that are trying to protect him. I'm taking a look at 2 grenades, the Pulse will be the first. All of our grenades share the same base level of jolt at 7405, but me, this grenade is the clear favourite as it got bonuses and buffs to the power and longevity. But mostly I like the fact that once it's applied the jolt effect, its pulses trigger the jolt, giving 6 of its 10 jolts without even firing a bullet. And it's amazing that just by equipping a couple of fragments your DPS will skyrocket. So Spark of Shock will give our grenades the jolt, Spark of Magnitude will increase the grenade's lifespan. With just one of these grenades we're doing 157, 153, this is nearly as strong as 2 rockets, so it's both great for DPS but also when it comes to your ag clearing. Now our Arc Titan has an aspect, the Touch of Thunder, which will increase the damage over time. But the Lightning Grenade also damages well, doing even more damage for 172069, including the jolts. However, it has to be said that the method of placement is sometimes frustrating, and with jolt being built in, we can skip off one of those fragments, and given the right boss, that's an easy 345k damage. So our Arc Titans easily have the best nades, but our other classes don't go home empty-handed. In fact, their hands actually get souped up. Tempest Strike, run, slide, melee to uppercut the target and jolt them. This melee does 20k damage, but more importantly it applies the standard jolt of 7405. I generally use this against larger targets that I don't want to get all that close to, and by utilizing Gambler's Dodge it won't be hard to obtain another one of these strikes. Now we can still use the combination blow in conjunction with the lethal current aspect to get the dodge, punch, jolt triggered. And despite its melee being a little bit stronger, it's still going to put out the same 10 jolts at 7405 for a total of 74,000. This is additional to us just putting a gun in their face and pulling the trigger. But it's also got blind built into it, so I can punch stun both unstops and overloads. Warlocks got the chain lightning melee, which is slightly more ranged than the hunters, but the lightning surge aspect is tasty. Run, slide, melee to pull the heavens down, and jolt takes over the rest. There's also a new fragment, Spark of Instinct. Whilst critically wounded, taking damage emits a burst of damaging arc energy that jolts targets. I would never try and use this perk intentionally, but it is good for those dense melee based ad encounters. Now when we move into our weapons, it's where it starts getting interesting, as the following weapons can jolt, but they are by no means equal. I'm going to do this in order from worst to best. If you don't agree, just let me know in the comments down below. For our primaries, in 6th place we have the Dark Decider. Now for those who don't actually know how Vault Shot works, you shoot a target, you reload, then the next target you shoot will apply Vault Shot for 10 seconds. You then consistently shoot this target to get those bolts raining out of it. The Decider actually has the lowest jolt damage with 7336, even lower than our abilities. Vice Stinger is nice however, as jolts work best when it's applied with the constant pressure of bullets. The Spiral is new from Nessus, mine's just the world drop unfortunately. Volt shot weapons like a good reload, but high impact pulses don't really have that. And its jolt is only 7775, pretty weak source. Our Callus SMG jumps up to 9353. And although I really do enjoy this subby with other roles, I wasn't really enjoying it with Volt Shot. When you jolt things, you want another large mag or a really quick reload to maximize all the jolts. And this SMG just couldn't really do either, kind of sat in the middle. Now the Tarnished Metal is third with 9626 jolt, but it's the best at range, and with flared magwell and a reload masterwork, this thing pops off, and I'd highly recommend you make one of these. It can also combo with Demolitionist, and I've made 14 grenades in under a minute just by using this as a lightning rod. The Posterity can be acquired from the Deepstone Crypt, and although 180 hand cannons aren't hugely popular, the 20% damage buff plus the Volt Shot of 10366, it's extremely comfortable weapon to use, and you've got to go get one. But the best Volt Shot primary was always going to be the Brigand's Law. It has the strongest primary jolt at 11477. Pair that with the rapid fire frame and the sidearm's 20% damage buff, and you'll become a walking talking storm. Its mag isn't too deep, I run a backup mag on it, but the reload speed is more than ample. Our special weapons are a beast with a different roar. In 5th place I show you the Macabre Sniper, and I only do this so you know which gun you need to delete from your vault forever. This sniper is weak source, it jolts less than most of our primaries at 7947, and it took 3 full mags to kill Carl here. Do not waste your time, bin it now. 4th place is the Path of Least Resistance. It jolts significantly higher at 12471, but it sits down here for more practical reasons. I love it and use it often, but trace rifles you really got a mod for, making them less relevant. They clap miners, decent against mages, and meh against bosses. But if you like your trace rifles, this is honestly the best legendary version in my opinion. The Protocol Return actually has the highest jolt at 21679. This is massive and works awesome in Agclair, but it can still actually put in some DPS when required. Or you could just use it the once, get a kill on an ad, reload, chuck it at the boss, and then swap forward to a more appropriate damage weapon. I think this is where it sits best. However, the choice comes down to the encounter that we are in, as we have similar options in the Salvo and the Forbearance. Now in 2nd place I've got a mad hard on for the Iterative Loop. It's got a Volt of 18867, and with Compulsive Loader it's the easiest to use and great at dropping those larger targets. But our number 1 special is actually going to be the Gnora's Axe. You're going to need to farm some Iron Banner for the gold roll, which is barrel of your choice, reload masterwork, flared magwell, surplus, and of course Bolt Shot. It vaults around the same as the Iterative Loop at 18511. However, if you are pushing out those crits, you'll be dropping those foes quickly with a little jolt boogie. And I can't recall if I mentioned this prior, but yes, Bolt Shot can stun our overloads. Now we've got 4 heavies to cross off. The Darcy, yes, the Darcy now has Jolt. Now its Jolt is the lowest of all the heavies. It's getting a reserve bump shortly, which should be nice. And when that goes through, this could actually be thrust into the meta. It's rapid fire and stable as a 10-legged table. Now its Jolt is the lowest of all the heavies at just 8,500, but I foresee this weapon going from strength to strength. Just think where the Leviathan's Breath and the Two-Tailed Fox were a year ago. Now the Sail Spy is kinda good, but more annoying. It vaults at 12114. It's got Compulsive Reloader, so it's actually really easy to use. It really suits a room full of mages, but its reserves are a little bit weak source, meaning you only really get to use 2/3 of your ammo with Volt Shot. Now the Terminus is very cumbersome, but it does kill fast. It vaults at 18 659, which is the third highest across all our Volt shots. And LMGs are strong, but that reload though. By the time you're done, your enemies have either killed you or just walked off in disappointment. But the king is crowned not by me, but by the entire community this season. The two-tailed fox got that third rocket that jolts. It may only be the 5th highest jolt at 17,480, but with all that rocket power, it sure then makes up for it. Now, you're not triggering this jolt consistently with this thing, but luckily if you got this slung up on your shoulder, you're in a DPS phase and your buds will be triggering that during your downtime reloading this monster. In summation, my damies, jolts and volts are totes revolting. A couple of these are insane. I would definitely craft a tarnished metal and a brigand's lore for easy ad clear, and the GL and fusion are excellent for champ and boss bakes. The two-tailed is nuts right now and should already be in your loadout, but that Darcy is only going to get better, so keep an eye on it. If you liked the vid, hit that thumbs. All questions and suggestions are welcome down below. And as always, tippy time my damies, what a tie.
Bottom of everything, he's the most tip-top.